What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we are talking The Bad Batch, Episode 6, Infiltration, and Episode 7, Extraction. Before we get into all of that, Dave, Doug, how you doing, gentlemen?
Well, Keith, I'm grand. It's been a lazy day. I got a few things done around this house still. Yeah, still you can see. Not all my posters are up, but still they will be. It's been kind of a lazy day. I was able to watch both episodes, and another show we'll talk about on Sunday. Invincible came out with another episode, so I watched that. So it's been just a lazy day. Doug, how you doing?
Well, Dave, let me tell you, I am outstanding. I unfortunately didn't get a lazy day, but that's okay. I was able to watch a Bad Batch yesterday. Loved the episodes. Cannot wait to talk about them with you, gentlemen. This season has been, it's been pretty darn good, but I can say that about most of Bad Batch. I'd say my only real hiccups with it have been a few of the episodes of season 2. But yeah, we talked about that back then, and if you didn't know, you can always go back and watch those videos. Shameless plug. But doing great. Keith, sir, how are you, though?
You know what? Unfortunately, I didn't have a lazy day like Dave. Work seems to want to be trying to murder me.
Yeah.
Multiple pilots going on, just zaniness 24/7. The good news is I'm off tomorrow. My son's birthday is
good.
Saturday. We're going to Frankenmuth. We're going to have a good time at the splash park. Going to ditch my
Nice.
phone in the room and not look at it and not have any electronics available. So if they need me, I guess it can wait till Monday. But I am excited to talk Bad Batch because we did get a couple fantastic episodes. This season is
Oh, yeah.
really doing a great job of molding this story. Fellow nerds, we are talking The Bad Batch. We got 2 wonderful episodes yesterday, Infiltration and Extraction, and we're going to talk about it, break it down, review it, all the things you want to do with your Star Wars shows. Gentlemen, what did you think?
All the things I want to do with my Star Wars show? You mean, Keith, you didn't mention the one most important thing. I just want to crawl into my TV and live there.
It is a good show. It's a damn good show.
All the
I
characters
mean, I
have
couldn't
depth.
wait for the season to
They're
come back out.
different. They just do such a great job with not having background characters just be these paper plate characters that are just there to be shot or fire a pistol. It really does a good job. And Crosshair, I swear to God, they should just have a Crosshair show. I hope he lives.
They should.
And they should just have a Crosshair show because every episode he's in pretty much is some of the best out there. The Crosshair centric shows are the best, and just when he takes a forefront and he's part of it, they just write that character well. I would love to see more.
One thing that I will say about him that I am so thrilled, and I mentioned this to both of you when we were watching the episodes and everything, but I'm happy that they are taking their time with this character. They're not rushing things. You can tell that they are treating this like a continuous story. They're not doing like one-offs like, oh, well, he escaped and he was going through something traumatic, but don't worry, he's good as new today. They're not doing that, and I'm good. They're letting it sit. They're letting it kind of boil. Like we got to see in the previous episode where he was shaking his hands, trying to aim, missing quite a few of his shots, and even the medical robot mentions, oh, you got like like a 64% or something, which old Crosshair would never have done. He's supposed to be a perfect sniper.
Mm-hmm.
In these 2 episodes, we still see a continuation of it, and I love that.
Because when that guy was coming down what they call it, a spire, when they were coming down there and he could see him, he would just turn around before and just one shot, he'd be done. And he shot 3 times, missed, turns around, his hand's shaking. Turns around and missed again. So yeah, that development is going very well.
How do you like that? In a cartoon show, we're getting proper character development. You can't say this is for kids. I'm sorry.
Better than most shows on TV.
So many people won't watch it, and they really are missing out because it really fills in the gap between movies. And this, honestly,
it's good storytelling.
This show is bridging the gap between every trilogy. It has some OT stuff. It has a lot of prequel stuff, and with the.
How'd you like them mentioning M count?
Something to do with him.
They're starting to piece it together. They're going to figure out what we all figured out first episode, season 1, that Omega is force sensitive, but they're not rushing it, just like you said, Doug. They're not like, oh, M count, she must be a Jedi. That's what the Jedis have, and But they did a great job with nobody, Rex's group not trusting Crosshair. The one guy like, you basically got my entire squad killed on Ryloth. But I also liked when they were going out there, Hunter seemed very skeptical of meeting Rex. Nothing against Rex, but that whole group is getting to the point where they're not going to be able to trust anybody because there's going to be such a high price on getting Omega back that a lot of people will turn on them for that dollar amount. And you can already see, like, Hunter knows it. And he's already worried, like, I trust Rex, but I might not trust every clone in his group. And I thought that was a nice touch. It was just subtle when they're on the ship, and I was like, damn, nicely done.
And not to jump to the end like we always do.
Why not?
That's what you're going to.
I love that was the one who came out of the Imperial starship, and he just let him go. And Wolf is one of the ones he ends up on that planet with, right?
That Walker, yeah.
So that's good setup. He was still there. I don't even know if he'll be not on the Imperial side by the end of this season, this show, or if that'll happen somewhere else. But it's cool that he's already something that we have to convert back to the old ways. And they still got time to, they got 10 episodes left, they still got time to do that. It wouldn't even have to be a major story, though, but that's one of the small details that makes the show so good.
And you got to think, with Rex losing a lot of his clones during this attack, they're going to need new recruits. And I think Wolf, by the end of this, is going to bring some clones with him. He might start working on the inside like, hey, listen, look at what we're doing. Rex made such a good point when Echo was with the ship behind him, and he's like, listen, you're chasing a child. Does this really? Think about that for a minute. And I thought it really did a great job. And they had the same sort of camera angle, too, on how far apart they were, as we saw in the Crosshair when he met back with the Bad Batch. Echo's ship is here, Wolf's ship is here, and you just see the space that separates them. And then the next scene, it kind of a different angle where it's bringing them a little closer, and you're very well visual on, hey, Wolf is starting to understand that these aren't insurgents. These are his brothers, and they're doing it for the right reasons.
Got a question about that, though, because I heard that line, and the first thing that I thought to myself was the first episode of The Bad Batch, when Crosshair, doing his whole good soldiers follow orders, he was willing to shoot a child. And it makes me wonder how many other clones during Order 66 did shoot and kill young Padawan children.
Look, quite a few.
I'm sure quite a few. So I wonder, do they remember doing that and realize, oh my God, we had no control? Or, I wonder how that's stored in their heads, because it seems like when they were showing scenes of the clones sitting in not the medical bay, the cafeteria, when they're sitting down with their food and everything, and they're talking like normal. Some of them are kind of questioning, why were the Jedis called traitors? I don't know. They were our generals for the longest time. They're just now starting to question it. But I wonder what the transition looked like after they carried out Order 66. Was it brainwashing beginning to wear off, and does it reactivate when you say execute Order 66 again? I do wonder, what does that do to all of them that had to carry it out?
I wonder if the chip removes those memories, because they know deep down the clones are loyal. It's kind of,
I feel like it would make them less effective if it didn't remove the memories, because they'd have to deal with, oh my God, I literally just killed the general that I've been following, also children.
It's funny you say loyalty there, and that's what I kept thinking about with the Crosshair speech. It's we don't trust you, and why did you go to the Empire? He says, well, I believe in loyalty. When the loyalty is not returned, that's when I left the Empire. That's when I became their enemy. So he's loyal to the Bad Batch because they've always
because they return it.
Yes, they return his loyalty.
And what really proved that was the previous episode when Wrecker hands him his old uniform. Says, "Oh, it seemed wrong to get rid of it." It's, oh man, wow, they care about me way more than the Empire ever did.
They didn't give up on him through all that time. He saved his gear. And
I really thought they might when they found out his chip was already removed and he was still with the Empire. I was like, okay, and now they're like, you're done.
Oh.
They are brothers. You have fights with your brothers, and you come around and see silly perhaps, or they just know that Crosshair is one of them. And it took him a little longer to figure out that the Empire was bad and didn't care about him, but he eventually got there. He's the slow brother.
Now, who else thought, when after Echo gave Omega her new crossbow, and then he said, "I won't even be gone that long. You'll see." Who else thought he wasn't coming back?
I wrote
Yeah,
that down.
did.
I wrote a note. I'm like, Echo, I won't be gone long. I was like, well, we ain't seeing Echo again. He's either getting recruited by,
That's exactly what I
the.
thought.
No, I figured he would be back. I didn't think he'd be back within these 2 episodes, but I didn't think he was like gone for good. I just I don't know. I figured he'd be gone for like until maybe the last couple of episodes or something like that, off doing whatever mission he had to do. I didn't realize he would be the one who was literally saving them, but then it occurred to me because I was sitting there thinking as they're going through the escape tunnels and getting out, I'm like, which ship are they heading to? And I'm like, oh wait, Echo took their ship. So where are they going? How are they planning to escape? And I was sitting there thinking about that. I'm like, there's got to be a plan. And then of course Echo shows up. I was like, oh, okay. I guess that was the plan.
One of the things too they showed was when they were all, or not all of them, but Rex's people were kind of like, we don't trust you, Crosshair, and they're like, I think he knows more, and of course he did. And of course, they don't need to know it right now, but as soon as he saw that secret clone assassin, I don't even know what to call him. I think they called him something. The shadows. He was like, we got to get out of here right now. Listen, there's a tracker in him. Why is he here? And it was nice too, because I'm like, okay, during that scene, I'm like, are they going to kill him? Are they going to turn on a clone and do that? Or are they going, and then the other shadow assassin killed him. So I was like, okay, that's a nice way to get out of it. They didn't have one of the clones while they're escaping leave a guy alive who could come after him. His buddy took care of it for him. I was like, okay, that's nice, because they didn't make the clones do it. The good clones, they made his other buddy do it. But it was nice too. You make mistakes. Sometimes you pay the price, and that was nice in this episode. That Rex and them, even though they captured one of these guys, bringing them back to the base was a terrible idea. And it wasn't just his clones that do it, but now they got a beat on Omega, which is the.
How do these clones determine when to use stun, when to use the normal blasters? Because I thought the direction they were going to take this in at one point, I thought to myself, okay, well, maybe they're only going to use stun on humanoid characters, and they only use blasters on like droids, bots, ships, things like that. It seems to be when they see like stormtroopers, they will use regular blasters on them, and then once they see a clone uniform, that's when they switch to stun. So I don't know if that's out of a sense of we don't kill our own or what that is.
I think it is, and I think it'll be a recruiting tool later if they need additional clones for their siege of Mount Tantus. Oh, you're a brother. We stunned you after us. We didn't try to kill you. They're like, what about those? Yeah, we killed the stormtroopers.
That was the other thing that I was really glad about too, by the way. I was worried. I was hoping that they wouldn't do this, but I was worried that these 2 episodes would be already going to Tantus based on the names. And I'm like, oh, I hope that they're not doing that. It's way too soon. They've still got to do some other things, have a few other space adventures, and get the crew together.
It's a secret base. They can't just be like, hey, I was eating some frosted covered sugar bombs, and I got this map to Mount Tantus as my prize. Let's go.
It was the price of the box, right?
Yeah, that is going to be the epic season finale.
I do.
I can see that. All right.
And I think, a lot of lives are going to be lost, but I think they're going to basically, because it takes a while for Project Necromancer to work. We know
considering we don't, we're seeing them still working on it, like in Mandalorian. Clearly, there's a few hiccups.
Hemlock's team.
Speaking of that, do you think we'll see an animated version of Giancarlo Esposito's character?
I hope so.
At some point, Moff Gideon. I assume at some point he had to have gotten involved with Project Necromancer. How else would he have known so much about it?
And he was like an internal sort of investigator guy. He knows a lot of stuff. He may have been stationed at Mount Tantus. And that's why he's working on Project Necromancer post Return of the Jedi. That would be cool.
Even cooler if they get him to voice it too.
Well, of course, you would have to.
There's a little baby I know that was rescued from the Jedi Temple by Kelleran Beck.
Oh God.
I need to get him.
And he would know the name too.
Din Djarin. He's going to be a thorn in our side. Grief
Give him
Cargo.
about 25 years.
Right. Oh, Grief Cargo. Oh man.
That's too bad.
Next season, Mandalorian, or no, there probably isn't going to be another season, is there? We just have the movie coming up, right?
Originally, they were saying that it was going to be season 4 goes right into the movie. Now they're saying it's just a movie.
Oh.
Oh.
But once again, nothing has been confirmed by Lucasfilm. All we know is that the movie starts shooting.
I personally, it's my personal preference, I would prefer if they had one more season of the show before leading into the movie, especially since they were saying the movie is going to kind of finalize everything.
Well, and
It's-
season 3 was kind of more like The
was-
Mandalorian than The
It was
Mandalorian.
kind of lackluster. It wasn't, and the ending was kind of meh. It was just like, okay.
You would think the final battle against Moff Gideon like that would be a little more epic. And while it was good and all right, it wasn't great. I was more excited for Din Djarin and Grogu to have their own place on Navarro, and I'm like, okay, now we're gonna get kind of some stories like the first season again, hopefully, where he's kind of doing some bounty hunting stuff. I was very much like the end of No Way Home with Spider-Man, because all of a sudden he's back to basics. He doesn't have the Iron Spider suit. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's really going to be. And now it sounds like we're going to get a movie where he's just rushed right back into all the zaniness going on. And I trust Filoni, but I'm 100% with you, Doug. I wish we got another season of The Mandalorian before that movie.
Back to the good stuff, Mandalorian.
Exactly.
Back to the great stuff.
Season 3, it wasn't bad. I'm not saying that.
Right,
It
right. Yeah, it
great.
wasn't. There was a lot of good episodes. A lot of what we saw was pretty predictable. And there was also just a lot of like filler, basically. It felt like they weren't advancing the story. They were creating BS episodes that they could, as if they were going to air it on TV. That could just fill a time slot.
They set up the Mandalorians so that they could have, if they wanted to go in the Mandalorian movie direction, they could have a nice foundation. That
Could
whole
be.
season pretty much set them up to do whatever they wanted to do. They could go back to being the Mandalorians of old, or they could be something new, and they could have them in a movie, and we'd all know the backstory.
Not if they say on Planet Monster, where they were all getting picked off. They're looking for real estate. How about the lake with the giant monster that only eats children?
Remember, Doug, they're back on what's it called now?
Yeah, they're back on Mandalore now.
The Mythosaur is back, and someone had a very crazy theory, and I like it.
Was it somebody we know?
No, it was.
Oh.
I think I saw it on Twitter or Threads, and they said, "What if Hemlock's creature sort of experiments on Tantus is what brings the Mythosaur back, and that's how it gets on Mandalore?" And I'm like, I don't necessarily buy it, but I'm like, that's a pretty cool theory. That somehow the Empire's own doing is going to bring back basically the Mandalorians to strength.
I'm going to lightly tap on the brakes for that one.
He's tapping the brakes, folks. I just want to
Once
say
again,
Just-
I
just
like the
enough
theory.
to make,
I don't think it's going to actually come true.
I'm just going to tap just enough to make Dave's reel it in pull kind of move forward, knock next to him so he can think about maybe grabbing it.
It's been cast. We'll see if I reel it in.
There's a lot of interest, and that's what I think Filoni does with these shows. He writes enough out there and leaves things a little bit open-ended at times, where you can have different stories come out, and you can change things up if needed. But there's a lot of wiggle room and a lot of places you can go where it's not as predictable. You're right, season 3 of The Mandalorian was, once again, not bad, just not up to the level of creative.
I think what was funny is Grief Karga's character basically was like he was there to be like us in the episode, because even he was like, well, hey, what about your bath? Did you go take your special bath? We did that. Okay, then why don't you want to settle down? Because I have to go do Mandalorian stuff. The kid. Speaking of the kid, like, why do you have him back? Wasn't that your whole? I dropped him off. Now I've got him back. Right. Okay.
You're just talking in circles, man.
He didn't want to be a Jedi. He wanted to be a Mandalorian. Couldn't he be both? That would really help us if he was a Jedi and a
Right.
Mandalorian. Why didn't you let him study?
No, you'd only pick one. I don't know. I think I read a history document once where there literally was a dude who was both. Oh,
Not Luke Skywalker.
you had a sword.
He said you either take the armor or you take the lightsaber. You can't have them both. So he chose the armor. Are there other Jedi that could train him though? What about that tail lady that you were hanging out with? Din,
Yeah, she
man,
had the
you're not
stripes-
helping us here.
Bright blue hair? You go off with her? They both like pizza? They both like frog legs? Come on.
Oh, and speaking, did you guys like Omega's new gun that Echo gave her?
So I had to look that up, because when he said it's a light crossbow, I was like, a light crossbow? How is that different from Chewbacca's bowcaster? And apparently they're roughly the same thing, but a bowcaster is much heavier, and that's why usually only a Wookiee has it, because it's too heavy for a human to carry. And I did not know that. There's your Star Wars nerd news, I guess.
Tell that to Princess Leia, who fired it once.
Once.
She fired it once, and then Han fired it once. Like, but it is funny that they waited until what was it? Not oh my gosh, Force Awakens. Force Awakens. I could not remember the subtitle for that movie. Force Awakens, and he finally shoots it. They've been hanging out for years, and he goes, "Oh, that was fun, dude. You've been hanging out with Chewbacca for like what, 50 years? Come on." You never shot it until now.
Out of respect to his friend, it's his friend's weapon. You don't just.
Yeah, you want to step on his toes.
But I do think it is. I do like the idea better that she's got a crossbow-like weapon. I always thought the laser longbow was a little too weird.
It's a handheld one. So
But it's more like
look a lot better.
gun shape. The bow.
Also green.
It was reminding me too much of the goofy Gungan weapons, and I was just like, please don't keep her with that.
Gungan?
Plus, this one's
I'm
green.
not sure who that is.
J.J. Abrams created that, didn't he?
Probably.
J.J.
Oh
Binks.
God. He retroactively he went back into the past and said, George, got these great little creatures. They're gonna be goofy. You're gonna love them.
It's all for kids anyway, right, guys?
Right.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Next week's episode is called Bad Territory.
Ooh.
You know, we
So
obviously.
I wonder if they're going to land on more of a rough planet because they're trying to find they've lost their base of operations. They're trying to find a new place to sort of set up camp. This is reminding me a lot of what was going on with the rebels in Empire Strikes Back. How they were basically constantly like on the run, trying to find a new base of operations on the run from the Empire. Feels a lot like that. Maybe that's why another reason in addition to everything else why I'm enjoying this is it's given me so many like feelings from the OT.
You got to think about it. Anywhere could be bad territory from now because there's going to be such. Hemlock has the entire resources of the Empire.
Bounties on their heads,
back.
yeah.
So who can they trust? Who can they really go to and not be sold out to get those credits and that reward? So it's going to be.
That's Sid.
Definitely not
Definitely
Sid.
not Sid.
Oh, I forgot about Sid. Jeez.
She's no help at all.
You think they're gonna run into her again?
I think she'll be on the show again once more in the final season. I think she will.
She may
I
actually
don't know
help.
what capacity. Yeah, because she's like a Loki. She plays for herself. She doesn't play for the Empire. So if there's something to her advantage, she'll take advantage.
And it may be she got along with the kid. She really liked Omega. I think
Omega did come to her defense quite a few times too.
so it may be just out of respect for her and just like, you know what, you guys can stay here for the night, but that's it. I can't. You guys are too hot for me to keep. But, one day, and then you're out of here.
Oh yeah, they are.
It's and we all know, like in The Empire Strikes Back, it ended badly. So we all know the show. There's no way the show can end on a high note. Maybe a high note isn't good writing, but not a positive note for the clones.
Probably
It can't
about
end
the
that way.
best happiness
I'll be
for
right
a kind of ending is going to be Omega being safe.
And she is. Oh, you had to go somewhere again.
Oh, Doug, you got a haircut
she
and a
will-
shave, and you're all dressed up, looking good, sir. Oh, you're
Yeah,
not
he's standing
talking
in front of a
now?
brick wall. That brick wall wasn't there a minute ago.
Is he at a comedy club? What's going on?
Omega is that's the positive thing that's going to come out of it. She's going to live, and then we're going to see her on The Mandalorian, or we're going to see her in The Mandalorian movie. I think she's a character that's going to continue on after this show.
It could be even in whatever they're going to do. I still think they have to have almost another show because Ahsoka season 2 is probably going to be more in that other galaxy, and with Baylan Skoll going after. Oh, hey, what was that? Oh, fellow nerd Doug just gave us a subscribe. Thank you so much, fellow nerd Doug. We appreciate that. But it's going to be interesting who she goes away with at the end of this series. Is it Echo who's going to be with her? Is it Crosshair? Is it going to be Hunter? They're not all going to be there, but maybe one is going to keep her safe. Are they going to be able? Are they going to figure out that she does have force powers? Are they going to try to get her to a Jedi to help train her? And when we see her next, possibly in Rangers of the New Republic or Filoni's movie or Mandalorian and Grogu, is she going to be basically a force-sensitive asset against Thrawn or whatever it's going to be? I think that's the biggest thing is who's going to get her to safety. Is it going to be Keller and Beck? Are you going to have Grogu and Omega? He's going to keep them safe?
He does have a new part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we do know that Ahmed Best is going to be in a future Star Wars thing, so it very may well be something to do with Omega.
He could be the star of the next trilogy against Thrawn. That would be awesome.
Who, Omega?
Because she'd be a better that she'd be better than Rey because we know Omega's backstory.
Well, the Thrawn stuff is going to happen before Force Awakens.
But you got to think that he's going to endure because he's such a great villain. They could make another trilogy with him.
No, that's a good point, Dave. Like, he could be beaten back prior to the Force Awakens, but he's just out gathering strength, and then he'll come back again. That would be fantastic.
Somehow Thrawn return.
Oh God!
Well, please don't do it that way. Yeah, no.
It'd be awful weird to have a series of movies called Star Wars and then there not be a war that they're having. So I wouldn't mind if they had more of an established villain that isn't the Emperor come back and rile things up, or hell, if they decide to do something new, create something brand new that we haven't even heard of. Maybe make something more of a cosmic space threat. Maybe the brother is still out there and he's deciding that he's going to use his cosmic force powers or the sun or whatever he's called. Now nobody knows how to deal with this, essentially a god.
That would be great. Could be even another army from another galaxy. Maybe we'll see something because they
that would be
travel
cool.
to Peridia. They'll find a way back, but something's coming with them, and it could be not good for this galaxy.
Oh God. Dark Sith Purgles.
Yes.
They use their hyperspace specifically to like crash into buildings.
And other ships.
Right. Oh God, it's Dark Purgles.
Not again.
They come flying at the speed of light and bash through everything.
And their Sith overlord is riding it, jumps off at the last minute.
Right.
And
He's got to save himself.
Look at that. Come on, Lucasfilm. Come on, Disney. Hire us. We can write your stuff for you.
Is tune into our channel. We got your next 10 movies right
10, 20. Come on.
Yeah, 20 years.
I can write these in my sleep. I got a chat bot.
I could write 3 movies when I'm on the toilet, and one of them would be good.
And one of them would be good, right?
The Golden Turd from Keith.
It's not that difficult to just do a quality movie. Just let the writers write. Don't do too much interference. Don't let, we did a screening and some idiot thought that it should have some of this in it. Oh, we better add it then. The people have spoken.
We definitely need a gay robot. We definitely need that in this movie.
We had it in every other Star Wars movie, C-3PO.
Right.
What was the line? It's so nice to see a friendly face. How rude! It cracks me up every time. 45 years, it still cracks me up.
Somebody said online, they had shared some screenshots of his scene in Ahsoka in one of the Star Wars groups. I don't remember which one. And somebody said online that apparently Anthony Daniels has quite the ego from being C-3PO all these years. And sure, some of it is probably due. He has been the guy in the C-3PO suit. He does all the voice acting for the character whenever he appears. He's been playing the same character since the 70s. So sure, credit where credit is due. But apparently he's very egotistical whenever he's like at a con or something. Has a pretty I guess he's not very nice to the fans, which is a shame if that is true.
I hope that's not true. It would be
I hope
terrible.
not.
I don't know. I can't.
But a lot of people said that he wrote an autobiography and he writes in a very similar fashion, talking about how it wouldn't be Star Wars without him and stuff.
Well, for a while there, the droids had appeared in every Star Wars property. I don't know if that's still true. Have they been on The Mandalorian? R2-D2 was on The Mandalorian. And Ahsoka.
Book of Boba Fett. In the Mandalorian episodes of Book of Boba Fett.
The Mandalorian 2.5.
I guess so. I didn't realize that, Dave.
The one constant.
You seen him in the Bad Batch yet?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh. No, I don't think
know.
so, because
I
don't think we've seen any Jedi stuff. Well, except for the very first episode, I don't think we've really seen any other Jedi stuff in this series.
We do know we'll see,
Oh, we saw the Wookiee Jedi. I forgot about him.
and we'll see Asajj Ventress this season.
We will eventually. I'm still waiting to see how they're going to work that in. Like they made it seem like in the trailer that she was going to be a bigger deal than I guess what I assumed she was going to have a larger role in more of these episodes. Like we would have seen her by now. So I am curious.
But I think
they're
they threw it into the trailer to get people excited.
probably, or get a lot of people talking
yeah.
like, "Oh, could they?"
I had forgotten. She'll probably be part of that final battle type of thing.
Possibly.
Oh, that would be cool if they do get some Force sensitive people to help them try to take down Tantus. And that could be whoever survives is who takes Omega away to help train her in the ways.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hope that they at least discuss that, and I hope she develops some other sort of force sensitivity other than being kind of good at gambling.
Well, she has the sort of with animals too that she probably doesn't know it's the Force. She just
Mm-hmm.
feels normal. She always sort of has that closeness with animals, and like when she was feeding them on Tantus, and now with Batcher, and
That's true. I really want to see her like move something with her or convince someone of something. You want to let us go?
what did you
I
say?
want
Your
to let
accent is
you
so
go.
thick. Let us go. I'm not getting it. But you got to come with
I'm
me.
sorry, I don't understand you. I don't know what you're saying.
What is goo? You want me to let you do? What is goo?
That's gross, young lady, and we are not having that here.
Well, we don't talk like that here.
Maybe that's why they haven't had her like even accidentally do something like that. One thing that I do hope kind of remains consistent about the display of the Force. Well, I don't. Chris from Fatherly Fandom, I think he mentioned that they do this in the original trilogy. I don't remember this being the case, but in the Disney trilogy, every time somebody would use the Force, the sound would kind of drop out, and you would get this like this whoosh sound effect that would almost I don't know, it gave it almost like a mystical feel to it. Whenever somebody would wave their hand or move something with the Force, like whatever music might be playing, kind of silenced, or you just hear this ooh, almost like you were entering a soundproof room. And they did that effect, and I kind of liked it because some Force nonsense is going on. Okay.
Did they do it when
didn't notice
Sabine
that.
used it in Ahsoka?
I guess I'm gonna have to. Now I don't know. I'm gonna have to go check. I guess an excuse to go watch Ahsoka again.
Yep.
Like you need one. It was a great show.
Right. Well, maybe Sierra will join us. We'll watch her favorite character.
Yeah, we'll just show the Sabine scenes.
Right.
We'll cut
Sabine
out
only.
everything else.
We skip everything else.
It's like, it seems a lot more Sabine centric nowadays. I'm like, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, crazy.
I swear there was more to this episode than just 5 minutes of Sabine.
I don't know,
They edit their stuff after it comes out all the time.
McClunky.
They do it to make it better, right, Sierra? She's like, no. Well, did you want to?
Speaking of stuff that they do in these Star Wars movies, did you guys hear the Wilhelm scream? They did it in the episode. One of the stormtroopers like flew off the end of a ship or whatever. When he was falling, I heard it, and I'm like, yes, I am so happy they did that.
Oh, shucks. Now I'm gonna have to watch these episodes again.
Oh, darn.
I was gonna do that when I texted you guys, but then I started watching Game of Thrones, and I just been hooked on that ever since.
How far into season 2 are you?
Season 2, episode 5.
Nice.
Moving right along.
Cool.
Well, I think you were going to say something about rating these episodes, Dave, a minute ago. Should we rate these episodes?
Yes, we shall.
All
Shall
right.
I start?
Go for it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I loved all the clones getting used to each other again. I love that Crosshair is taking like him and Omega are getting close, and I think it's because she rescued him, and he doesn't want to show any emotion about it, but he is being very cool to her, and he doesn't care what the other people say. He's not going to say anything like, "Let me prove it to you." He's just going to go ahead and prove it to you that he's back on your side. And I like it. They I forget which was the name of the clone trooper who held him underwater. Was that the Shadow guy?
Yeah. Yep.
And I thought, all right, are we going to lose him too because he stopped moving? And I was like, well, is that a fake out? Is he trying to make him think he's dead so he can get the advantage and he came back up? But it's been like ever since even the whole season, there's been a lot of Crosshair on the show, a lot less Hunter, a lot less Reeker, but
Reeker.
But I've loved it. It's been a really good season, and these 2 episodes stand alone. I'm going to put them both together. I say stand alone, but it was like a 2-episode, 1-hour TV show.
It was almost like they should have been one continuous.
Like Keith said, they know where to put these together at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than rate them individually, they came out as a package. I'm going to rate them both an 8. What do you guys think?
Nice. I really enjoyed the story. It's amazing to me that sometimes I can be so drawn into these animated series. I turn it on and like the rest of the world just drops away sometimes. And these episodes definitely completely immersed me. Kevin Kiner, I try to talk about him every week because his soundtrack, his themes, soundtracks, everything he does is just so good. All of the different voices we get from the clones is fantastic. And I think this story is just they're not rushing anything. They're taking their time. We got, I think, 15 episodes this season. And there's never once where I felt like they're taking the easy way out or they're kind of painting themselves into a corner and they just do something silly. Everything seems to really go by the book. They're not getting to Mount Tantus too quick. They're making mistakes and losing people, and they got to do a bunch of things. And I think it's great. And I think these 2 episodes have been probably the best 2 episodes we've gotten this season. And the first 3 episodes were tremendous. But I love these 2 episodes, so I'm going to give them an 8.7 because I thought they were absolutely tremendous. Oh, I said it again. I didn't mean to say it there. It just did a great job of pushing the story forward, not too quickly, and not giving easy payoffs. So it's not like they're all hugging Crosshair. Welcome back, buddy. We're so glad you're here. But you still have people like, I don't know about this guy. And as Dave pointed out, he has that sort of extra affection for Omega now. And he's really kind of almost, I don't want to say a fatherly figure. He's like a grumpy uncle figure where he truly cares for her. But his way of showing it is odd. And I'm going to be sad when this is over. I hope we get another announcement for a new Lucasfilm animated series because when this is done, it's going to be a sad time if we don't get any animated shows for a while.
Especially this style. Like, they've perfected it. It definitely took them a while. If you go back and you watch some of the first, 2 or 3 seasons of Clone Wars, it's a bit rough. It was still newer animation style. They're trying to figure it out. I don't think they had as good of a budget, but it's definitely improved. I think they worked out quite a few kinks with Rebels, and then the final season of Clone Wars, when it came back, really showed how far it had come along. Oh my god, especially the lightsaber fight scenes. And now with the Bad Batch, it looks beautiful. Like, almost every episode, like, every time they're in a scene where there's like that island scene where they were in the previous episode, and you can see the sun setting when they're eating dinner together. Oh my gosh, it was just beautiful looking. I loved it. Really nice, really well made. And these 2 episodes, I'm going to do the same thing as you 2. I'm going to rate them together because they really are 2 parts of a whole. Just an excellent couple of episodes. And I was laughing because, Keith, you rated it an 8.7. I was literally sitting here thinking, as soon as Dave said that, hey, do you want to rate it? My initial thought was I'm going to rate it an 8.8 because it was great.
8.8 is great.
And I'm sitting here like, I was even thinking, I'm like, usually I'm a bit more critical of these episodes, but I'm struggling so hard to think of anything that I didn't like about these. I can't. I truly cannot think of anything that I didn't like about these 2 episodes. I've been critical of the previous ones. I'm not like just sitting here saying, oh my god, everything they produce is gold. I know that sometimes there can be stinkers. Like, not everything is fantastic, but these 2 episodes were really good. They had everything that I love to see out of these shows, whether they're animated or live action, either or. They had impeccable storytelling, great character development, they continued previous storylines and actions, so there were consequences to previous actions. And I think probably one of my favorite parts was almost the look of horror on Crosshair's face when he realized that they had captured a shadow. And the shadow already knew. He was like, I don't need to speak, I just need to wait until they find me because they've got a tracker in me. And Crosshair instantly knew, and you could just say, like, what have you done? Oh my god, we're all gonna die. We need to, and he's like, we need to get out of here now. I was just like, oh, it's about to go down. Okay. And then Dave brought up at the end of the episode how we finally got to see Wolf, and it was awesome that was the clone that happened to be there. And I really like their interaction, how they're reminding him, like, hey, are you seriously going to hunt down a kid? Are you going to oppose your brothers? We're all clones here. He's like having to struggle with that. Like, you know what, you're right. And I think that goes into what the both of you were saying. It ties into, I think, the overall theme of what they're going with, and that is true loyalty. And it was like what Dave pointed out when he said, like, Crosshair basically realizes, oh, I do have loyalty. I have loyalty to the people who are loyal back to me. and that wasn't the Empire. And I'm glad that they're continuing to have that discussion. It wasn't like a one and done thing. This has now become like an overall theme. So I thought these were stupendous. I really hope that they don't drop the ball and give us like crappy episodes. I hope they just keep it going because these were so good. I almost want to rate it even higher, but I'm going to stick with 8.8.
This is the highest praise I think you've given this series.
These were just that good. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. I was just like, I was blown away.
When you are watching it, but then you feel like I'll pick up my phone, see if I got any messages like that. That's when it's just an average episode.
Yeah.
If you can't look away, that's when you got something good. And I couldn't look away.
That's how I was too. Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.